When professionalism left the workplace, well, customer service went right with it. So let's get rash about it. Welcome to Let's Get Rash. This is the podcast that says what your boss won't and what your employees wish they could. Work sucks today because leadership sucks and no one wants to say it out loud. I'm Jessica, a former insider turned leadership coach and the author of Let's Get Rash About Leadership. I'm not here to be nice, I'm here to be real. Let's get rash about it. Well, hello and welcome to the new normal, where once upon a time at work, 9 a.m. used to mean 9 a.m., but today it means 9-ish. 9:07, 9:16, 9:22, anything but 9 on the dot. Where every commitment will come with an asterisk because, well, there's always a reason why someone can't make it. If you've got an appointment or a meeting, you're going to arrive on time, maybe even a little early, but you're going to hear this from the other party. Sorry, I'm running about 15 minutes late, or I need to reschedule so that I can take my kids to soccer practice, or my personal favorite, a text that comes in 5 minutes before the meeting saying, hey, can we reschedule? I completely forgot. Monday. See, it doesn't matter whether you're the customer, the client, an employee, or a boss. Folks, this is the new normal. But before we go any further, let's truly define professionalism, because we've started defining professionalism with just wearing a suit and using big words. We left out all the important parts. We have turned professionalism into something superficial. See, professionalism is honoring your commitments. It's respecting other people's time. It's taking ownership when something goes wrong. It's following through on what you said you were going to do. And it's treating people with respect even when you don't feel like it. That's professionalism. And when that left the workplace, customer service packed its bag and went right with it. Today, when you walk into a business, instead of hearing and seeing a welcoming face and hearing the words, hello, you're greeted with a blank stare, or just silence and a head folded down staring at a personal device. If you walk into a restaurant an hour before closing, you're going to get that look. You know the one? It's the look that says, really? An hour before closing? Last week, my family and I walked into a restaurant at 8 p.m. that closes at 9. They had 2 customers sitting outside, and the rest of the restaurant was empty. We thought they would be ecstatic to see us. Call me crazy, but if I worked in a restaurant and customers walked in an hour before closing, I'd be thinking, hell yeah, tips. But instead, my husband caught the 2 servers rolling their eyes at each other and giving them the you gotta be freaking kidding me look. Today, employees are having conversations about how much they hate their job while customers are standing right there listening. Just a couple weeks ago, I overheard 2 employees talking at my neighborhood Walmart. They weren't trying to even hide the conversation either. They were using their real voices like I'm talking to you now. Everyone around them could hear every word. It started with them talking about how exhausted they were because they go above and beyond and how dedicated they are to customer service. I actually had to hold back a laugh because of what came next. The guy says, and I'm quoting here, well, minus one word, he says, I'm so effing mad at Danny, except he used the real F word. Did I tell you what she did? The other employee said, no, what did she do? And he said, she was taking pictures of customers yesterday and texting them to the group chat. This employee was horrified at the lack of professionalism from Danny. He then went on to tell his coworker how Danny had taken a picture of one of the customers in the store without them knowing and text the group chat saying, this guy looks like a, what's the word for it? I don't want to use the actual word. It's a used feminine hygiene product. Wow. Classy. Now think about that for a second. They're standing there, or I should say leaning, in the self-checkout area where customers can hear every single word talking about how committed they are to customer service or professionalism, while critiquing a coworker in front of other customers. Now, if that doesn't perfectly capture where professionalism has gone, I don't know what does. The new customer service goes a little something like this. As the customer, you might ask, how are you today? And instead of hearing, I'm well, thanks, how are you? Well, you're going to get their entire autobiography. How tired they are, how short-staffed they are, how much they hate their job, how many hours they have left on their shift, all their medical ailments. See, somehow you've gone from being the customer to being their therapist. Now, for most of us, when we picture that type of customer service, most of us will immediately imagine someone under 25 years old. But honestly, That's just a stereotype because I'm seeing it from every generation now. This is not an age problem anymore, it's a professionalism problem. Today, you'll walk up to the counter of any business, and instead of being acknowledged, you'll stand there waiting while the employee finishes up whatever they're doing. Texting, scrolling social media, or wrapping whatever is apparently more important than you standing right in front of them. Then if something does go wrong, you're going to hear this. That's not my department. Corporate makes us do that. Someone else handles that. Nobody will own the problem anymore, not even if it's just for appearances. Not even long enough to say, absolutely, let me see what I can do. And don't even get me started on kiosks. Businesses have convinced themselves that replacing people with touchscreens is the same thing as customer service. It is not. Technology can make a transaction faster, but it cannot make a customer feel valued. A kiosk can't and won't take ownership or show empathy or solve a unique problem or make someone feel like they matter. That's not customer service. That's just self-checkout. And this is what we have all accepted as normal. And the problem is, you see it everywhere. Customers treat employees this way, employees treat customers this way, coworkers treat each other this way, managers treat employees this way. It's become a cycle where everyone is frustrated, everyone feels undervalued, and everyone is just passing that frustration on to the next person. We've become a culture of lowered expectations and a complete lack of professionalism. And it's not limited to an industry. It doesn't matter if it's a fast food restaurant, a doctor's office, a law firm, a hotel, a real estate agency, or a company trying to sell you a $100,000 service that you don't need. The expectation for professionalism has been devalued across virtually every industry. And let's talk about healthcare. Today, you don't wait for a phone call anymore, you just get a notification. Ding! Your lab results are available in your portal. Now, I understand the convenience, having access to your information. That's cool. But convenience and compassion are not the same thing. Because it's a completely different experience when those results might change your life. Like, if I'm waiting to find out if I have a medical diagnosis that could be deadly, well, I don't want to find out from an app notification while I'm standing in line at Costco. Would you mind calling me, explain it to me, answer my questions? And I know, I don't want to sound like a Karen here, but I am probably going to have questions. And I know my questions are inconvenient for you. I know you're busy. I know healthcare is a complicated system. After all, you are the front line. But when the news could change someone's life forever, a phone call doesn't seem like too much to ask. That's not being difficult. That's expecting professionalism. That's expecting customer service. And hey, patients are customers. But hey, don't worry, I don't want to inconvenience you. I'll just take those results, type them into Google, and try to figure it out for myself. Oh, and by the way, what happened to HIPAA? If you do manage to check in for your medical appointment with a person instead of a kiosk, you'll likely be greeted by someone who looks less than thrilled to be at work today. You will probably walk up to a cramped check-in station with a very thin partition between you and the person checking in next to you. That enthusiastic check-in agent will ask you, what's your full name? What's your date of birth? And in some cases, you may have the added bonus of explaining exactly why you're there today, right in front of a bored audience sitting in the waiting room, the same waiting room where you could hear a pin drop. Everyone will get to hear your personal business while pretending not to listen. They'll find out the reason for your appointment, your symptoms, your concerns. And then we all wonder why people feel like healthcare has become less personal. What a mystery. We will also be told that our medical information is protected. Now see, we've created a system where every detail of our health history is uploaded into a portal and stored somewhere in that magical cloud, just like magic. And don't get me wrong, technology has brought some pretty amazing improvements, but we also need to acknowledge the risk. Between 2010 and 2024, hundreds of millions of healthcare records were involved in data breaches in the United States. Think about that. Your name, your address, your medical history, your most private information. But here's the bigger issue. When healthcare just became another notification, another portal, another automated message, we lost the human side of healthcare too. When you are shopping in a store like Home Depot, you may ask an employee where a product is. The response is often this: "Hey, did you know that you could actually find that on the app?" Well, how convenient. Let me pull out my phone, hope I have reception inside this giant metal warehouse, download the app, create an account, and search for the item. Oh, no problem. We have free Wi-Fi. Just click the Home Depot guest. Or I could just ask one of the 30 employees walking around this joint. See, this is what happens when we replace human interaction with program responses. People stop acting like people. And let's get rash. A lot of these responses are not even the employee's fault. Companies have trained people to follow the script instead of solving problems. The companies replaced curiosity with procedures, and they replaced judgment with processes. Take this, for instance. You walk up to a register with your arms full of stuff, or your cart is overflowing. It's painfully obvious that you're going to need a bag. A 5-year-old could figure that out. But instead of just bagging your groceries or whatever you're buying, the cashier will look at you and say, "Do you want a bag?" And half the time, it's delivered in that tone that sounds like, "Ugh, I really hope you say no." The first few times this happens, you're going to think, wow, that cashier is a lazy fill in the blank. But then you start noticing that it's happening everywhere. Different stores, different employees. And then you realize this isn't even the cashier's fault. Someone in a corporate office added this question to their customer service training. They trained employees to ask that question even with an obvious answer because every bag they don't hand out saves a company a few pennies. The irony? Employees are actively participating in their own demise. Every time they trade common sense for a script, they make themselves easier to replace. Here's another story. Someone that I know personally has had his house on the market for almost a year. He and his wife own this house since I was a kid. They worked on it together, they poured their hearts, their time, and their memories into it. Sadly, his wife passed away. She was very special, so this house isn't just a house. It was a piece of their story. It holds history. It holds memories. And additionally, it's also a very unique, cool house. Yet, it sat on the market for almost a year. If I had extra money, I'd buy it myself. It's not overpriced, it's priced in line with that area, and it's been shown multiple times. Because that guy still lives there, the routine has always been the same. He would get a call from a real estate agent to come see the house, so he would pack up, leave the house for a while, and then after the showing, he would come back home. Well, last week he got an offer. Finally. Today, the house is pending. What made this story different? Well, the people who made the offer didn't just tour the house. They met the person behind it. See, he wasn't able to disappear before they showed up, so he happened to be home. He ended up giving them the tour. He walked them through the rooms. He told them the history. He shared the story of the home and the life that had once lived there. And they didn't just fall in love with the house. They fell in love with the story. Now, I can't prove that's the reason that the house sold, but I can tell you this. The product didn't change. The house was the same house it had been for the last year. The only difference was the human connection, meeting that person face to face. To me, duh. And I'm frustrated because in business, we continue to underestimate that value. The value of a customized experience, human connection. Today, businesses, they recognize there's a problem and they're attempting to try to solve it. They're buying software. They're implementing AI. They're redesigning websites. They're creating loyalty programs, chatbots. They're sending out endless customer satisfaction surveys. They're measuring everything except one thing, and it's the one thing they all stopped investing in: professionalism. Customer service has become something that businesses have tried to automate, to streamline, to script, and to measure on a spreadsheet with pie charts and graphs. The problem is, great customer service has never been just a metric. It's a customized human interaction. Oh, and I know, that's risky. That does require some hand-holding, some mentorship, and maybe a complete redesign on how and who you hire and what you pay. Let's talk about the dress code. What dress code? Business casual used to mean something. Today, in a lot of workplaces, business casual is really just turned into casual. A sweatshirt, a hoodie, a long sloppy sweater. The kind of outfit that looks like someone just got ready for work in the dark and then hoped nobody would notice. Now, before someone says, well, clothes don't determine someone's professionalism. Yeah, I agree. A nice outfit doesn't automatically make someone professional, but presentation does matter. The way you show up sends a message about the standards that you have for yourself and the people that you serve. And then you have those businesses that do have a strict dress code, but they miss the mark too. Like requiring high heels when the majority of the job is tromping around in environments where that's impossible or require someone to be on their feet all day. That's not professionalism either. Can we just find some middle ground? Does everything have to swing from one extreme to the other? Did you know that we are at a point where people are debating what's appropriate to wear to a job interview? Did you know that? Did you know that you can actually be discounted for overdressing, for dressing too professional? Like if you show up in a suit or a blazer to an interview, some people will say, well, they don't understand our culture. They're not going to fit in here. Wait, what? When did showing that you care enough to make a first good impression become a negative? For a job interview, I'm supposed to research your company and figure out what everyone wears? And then make sure I don't look like I'm trying too hard? What happened to wanting people who came prepared? What happened to wanting people who showed initiative? And again, I'm not saying that everybody needs to show up in a three-piece suit, but I'm saying we need to stop confusing professionalism with being out of touch. As a customer, the bar is in fact so low that when somebody simply answers the phone or greets us with a smile or follows through on what they said they were going to do, like basic stuff, we act like we just experienced world-class customer service. I do declare. No, that's not exceptional. That's the bare minimum. We've lowered our expectations so much that basic professionalism now feels extraordinary. And I blame a lot of this on what I call the I don't care what people think movement. The movement started as be yourself. Don't worry about what other people think. Speak your truth. Live your truth. That kind of crap. Well, that all became nobody gets to expect anything from me anymore. I don't care how my actions affect anyone else. And you started hearing slogans like this. You do you. Haters are always going to hate. Don't seek validation. Be unapologetically yourself. YOLO, remember that one? And yes, on social media, thumbs up, emoji, care emoji, so deep. But look, being yourself, that was never supposed to mean being an inconsiderate jerk. Not caring what people think was never supposed to mean not caring how your choices impact other people. See, somehow we turned a message about confidence into a permission slip into avoiding responsibility. Let me tell you guys a little secret. If I truly stopped caring what other people thought, I would never mow my lawn ever again. Why would I? The grass doesn't care. The weeds don't care. Who am I trying to impress? Hell, I'd stop watering it too. I'd never do another dish. I'd stop sweeping. I'd stop mopping. I'd stop cleaning altogether. Laundry? See ya. Why should I care what anyone thinks about the way my house looks? In the car, oh, I'd become the king of the road. I'd park wherever I wanted. I'd drive however fast I want. I'd cut people off. I'd blow my horn at your grandma for taking too long to get going. Who cares? I'd stop putting things back where they belong at the store. I'd cut in line. I'd stop saying please and thank you. In fact, I'd refuse to be polite at all. After all, I don't care what people think. I'd leave my shopping cart wherever I wanted in the parking lot, blocking the best spot in the house. I'd walk into stores blasting whatever conspiracy podcast I was listening to that day at full volume. Why should I pause it? I don't care what people think. I'd throw away all my clothes and walk around in pajama pants made of high-quality bed sheets, but not like flannel or anything hot. I mean like hotel high-quality bed sheets. And then I'd throw on an oversized men's t-shirt. I'd never shower, never comb my hair, makeup, no. I would never put any effort into how I present myself. Because the rules of society, well, they wouldn't apply to me. I don't care what anyone thinks. You know what? When I actually say that out loud, it's kind of appealing. Sounds kind of awesome. But that's the dangerous part. The phrase, I don't care what people think, can sound incredibly empowering. It sounds a lot like freedom. It sounds like confidence. It sounds like refusing to be controlled. But, as you know, there's always a catch. If you follow it all the way down, it starts sounding less like freedom and more like giving up. more like entitlement, more like being self-absorbed. What started out as, I know who I am, and I don't need everyone else's permission, became, I don't care how my choices affect other people. I also blame customers for the decline of customer service. I blame the customers who walk straight up to the register still glued to their phone. They don't even pause the conversation for a 2-minute interaction with a stranger. They don't make eye contact. They don't acknowledge the other human being. They're silently communicating, hey, you don't matter, peon. You don't matter enough for me to give you an ounce of my attention. And look, this robotic version of customer service that we all do complain about didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built partly on the backs of unrealistic expectations and a culture where every interaction became a potential offense. We all started policing harmless human connection. Someone calls you honey or sweetheart, and instead of hearing kindness, some people chose to take offense. A word that was meant to be warm and familiar suddenly became something to complain about. Nope, it's condescending, it's patronizing, it's too familiar. It minimizes women. Does it? What? It's not gender specific. It's gender neutral. Personally, I love it. When someone calls me sweetheart or honey, I don't feel insulted. I feel like I'm being helped by a loving human being. Someone who genuinely cares. Plus, as a middle-aged person myself, it makes me feel youthful, like a kid, and I'll take that wherever I can get it. To me, it adds humanity. I recently had a medical procedure done, and I, for the record, am a very modest person. I always have been. During that procedure, I had a professional who'd been doing this for 30 years. She was experienced, confident, and incredibly kind. She was that lady that says sweetie and honey. And you know what? It was a breath of fresh air. Welcome back. That bedside manner, it helped me relax. It made a real awkward situation feel less uncomfortable. It helped me trust her. It helped me feel like I was being cared for by a person and not just processed by a machine. Have you ever noticed that those sweetie and honey people, they're often the same people who do go the extra mile? They are the ones that will check on you. They're the ones who remember every detail. They're the ones who make you feel like more than a transaction. See, businesses have changed the rules of customer service by catering to the loudest voices. The squeaky wheel became the wheel that everyone's listening to. Businesses have stopped backing their employees and started designing policies around the most unreasonable customer in the room. Common sense, gone. The ability to say, you know what, that's just not reasonable, gone. Instead, the response became, absolutely. Yes, we'll make that happen. Let's change all the rules. See, one angry, unreasonable customer with a complaint became more powerful than 1,000 happy customers and 10 employees who were doing the right thing. And the unintended consequence? We didn't create better customer service. We created employees who are afraid to make decisions, afraid to use judgment, and afraid to treat people like humans because they're worried someone might complain. The squeaky wheel didn't just get the grease. The squeaky wheel started driving the car. A lot of people today are worried that AI is going to replace people. But let's get rash. We're making a pretty weak argument for keeping our jobs when so many people have already started acting like robots. Next. Did you check the app? That's the policy. Call this number. Not my department. It's incredibly hard to argue on behalf of the workforce. Truth is, even myself, I prefer self-checkout over most cashiers. Look, I'm not saying anything we don't already know. We all see it. We all experience it. Customer service and professionalism has taken a hit. But that's not the point of this episode. The point is recognizing that customer service should still be on the top list of priorities for any successful business. Because here's what I want you to notice. The businesses that do prioritize it, they are winning. Look at Dutch Brothers. The coffee, ugh. I mean, it's coffee, but is it like, it's not great. People are not driving past 3 other coffee shops because Dutch Brothers has some secret recipe. They go there because of the experience. They go because the person at the window hops on the ledge and remembers them, talks to them, makes them feel welcome, makes them feel like their friend. And that turns a simple coffee run into a positive interaction. Look at Chick-fil-A. It's just chicken sandwiches. You can get a chicken sandwich at countless restaurants. The sandwich is not the reason people come back. It's the service. It's the attitude. It's the, my pleasure. It's the feeling that someone actually cares. That's the lesson that businesses need to remember. People don't just buy products, they buy experiences. And in a world where AI can automate transactions, the businesses that will stand out are the ones that remember the one thing that technology can't replace: human connection. So where do leaders start? How do they bring back professionalism? Well, first, you have to model it yourself. You guys can't be 9-ish and then expect 9. You can't say, sorry, I forgot we had a meeting. Let's just push that to tomorrow and then expect your team to believe that development matters. You can't talk badly about customers. You can't mock people who do go above and beyond to help them or get defensive when someone points out a problem. Because all of your employees, they're watching. They learn what matters by what you tolerate, what you reward, and what you demonstrate. If you do want a culture built on professionalism, ownership, customer service, it starts at the top. Professionalism is the foundation of great customer service, and when businesses remove professionalism, they remove the human connection that makes customers loyal. If you're ready to build that kind of culture and you need help, give me a call. And remember, just because you don't like some of the things that I say doesn't mean I'm wrong. Sometimes the things that challenge us are the things that we need to think about the most. If you want someone to tell you that everything you're doing as a leader is perfect, thumbs up. I'm probably not your person. I'm here to challenge ideas, question the norm, and make everybody better leaders. Thanks for listening.